In that sort of condition, one that you don't see overly often, worth a lot more than £2. So that's a result already, and we haven't even made it to CEX yet. Hello YouTube, N60 Fortress here, I'm back. Thanks for tuning in again as always, it's very much appreciated. I'm on my way to IKEA, I'm going to pick up my son a chest of drawers for his room, but I thought I'd check out a few CEXs while I'm in this neck of the woods. Just heading to the West Bromwich CEX now, and then I'll move on to Walsall or something like that as well, and see if we can find any essentials or anything good like that, and yeah, see if we can add something to the collection or something to flip. So let's go. Well, that was a result. I just popped into Cash Generator on my way to CEX, and I just picked up a nice PS3 Essentials game. I'll show you when we get back to the game room. Only cost £2, and in that sort of condition, one that you don't see overly often, worth a lot more than £2. So that's a result already, and we haven't even made it to CEX yet. Let's go, CEX is just down the road there. Let's go. Well, right then guys, so Cash Generators has kind of saved that trip to West Brom really, because CEX was pretty dry, pretty threadbare, slim pickings, no essentials games that I needed. I'd earmarked several titles last night that I'd keep an eye out to see if they were essentials. They were all standard versions. Same for PS4 HITS. They had loads of copies of Fallout 4, which is a difficult one to find in the HITS range, but I know people have found them in CEX before, but tough to find really. Interestingly, that's a title that shows up a lot on Czech Republic Vinted, more than the standard version, so that's where they all are. English copies, of course, but yes, it's a difficult territory. I've spoken about it before on the channel, because they're in the EU, but they're not in the Eurozone. They don't use the euro, so you can't transact on there on Vinted like you can other EU territories that use the euro, so it's a bit harder to get at. It's a bit annoying really, because you could buy several copies and flip the others and make some decent money, because they sell cheap over there, but over here people are collecting them. They're worth a lot more than their standard value in CEX really. But yeah, that's one for another day. I think I have got a lot of the more difficult ones out the way. That's my last remaining tough nut to crack, I think, in the PS4 HITS range. And yeah, they did have Vanquish in the standard range. That's a tough PS3 Essentials game to find. It's in my last 10 now. I think I've got 10 or less to go now, and that's one of them. I know one sold for 500 on eBay recently, a sealed but damaged sealed version. That's just crazy. That was FOMO kicking in, whoever bought that. I kind of get it, but like, there's no way I'd pay that much really. I'm confident it can be found a lot cheaper. You just have to be patient with these things, and that's somebody who's not willing to be patient, I guess. So yeah, one will turn up, but we've got to keep hunting in areas that other people's aren't, and keep turning over stones until one shows up. So yeah, I'm gonna go to IKEA then and get my son's chest of drawers, and then we'll head to Walsall CEX. Alright, I've just stopped off at Walsall because Walsall CEX is just down the road from IKEA. Last time I came here was before a Villa game and it was so dry. There was literally threadbare shelves. There was a total mismatch. It was like being in a charity shop. Loads of this 360 PS3 all lumbered together on one shelf, like integrated within each other. It was just total mess. Fingers crossed a slightly better experience this time, and I'm not going to film. I'm just going to go in there. I'll film anything if I see anything good, but otherwise I'm just going to go in there, in and out, and get on the road and get home for some lunch really. So yeah, on to CEX then. Alright, so back from CEX Walsall, and fair play to them, it was a lot tidier than when I last went. Everything was in its place. Unfortunately nothing there for me, but I did pick up a PS3 title for, well, what started as a couple of weeks ago just a viewer of the channel, somebody I now consider a friend. They've been helping me out on a monumental scale, picking up some Essentials titles that I need from Spain and other EU territories, and I've quickly got a parcel in excess of 10 games with them, and in return I've been buying some games in the UK that he wants for his collection, because these arbitrage opportunities exist. So games in the UK are a lot cheaper than they are over there, and vice versa. It's so bizarre really. And games that we consider just cheap fodder, I guess, like Ratchet and Clank games, over there they're a lot more expensive, a lot more scarce. So I picked up a Ratchet and Clank PS3 game for him, one of several in a pile I've got going for him now. There's a couple of other Ratchet games, and I've got him 2 copies of Deadpool on the PS3, just to give you an example. So that sells for about £30–35 here in the UK. Over in Spain it's about €80. So I bought him 2 copies, one for his collection, one to flip, and that means his copy will basically be free, and it's just good business really. I'm helping him out on this journey, he's helping me. He's got a few games that I can flip and help make my parcel cheaper in the long run. So yeah, we've been sort of working together, and in the end we won't be exchanging much money in this deal really, because we're just doing an exchange of goods really. So it's worked out pretty well for both of us. So yeah, shout out to Hassan, somebody I consider a friend now, top bloke over in Spain. He's been really helping me out, and happy to help you out, sir. So yeah, I'm going to get going then. I'm going to head home now, and then we'll go through everything in finer detail then. Right then guys, we are back. It's actually the next day. I'll go through the pickups for yesterday and for the week. Before we get into that, I finally amended my shelves. They are now sitting really flush. It was just really a niggling thing that I couldn't be bothered to get round to doing really, but I finally sorted it now. Just got these like bracket type things underneath. That means they sit nice and flush now. They were my dodgy DIY, they were slightly a bit off, but now nice and flush, and that's one thing off the list of things to do, which I've finally now sorted. So yes, yesterday then, before I went to the CEX in West Bromwich, I just spotted a cash converters, which was pretty dry, and opposite that there was a cash generators, quite a lot of them around in West Bromwich. And yeah, in cash generators I saw this Motorstorm Pacific Rift in the cabinet, just £2, fully complete with the manual. Any Essentials game that you don't see very often that's complete for £2, always worth picking up. There's definitely a little bit of money in these sort of games that are harder to come by for sure. And yeah, I don't want to encourage inflating the price. You know, we all have a certain feeling around resellers and so on, but it was definitely one worth picking up because it's just difficult to find really, and if I didn't, somebody else would. And yeah, really happy with this one. I'll tell you what I did with this later on in the video, but the intention was to sell it for about £10 plus post, but I'll let you know what I've done with that later in the episode. Next up, I went to IKEA, obviously got my son's drawers, and then I went on to Walsall CEX while I was in the area. Like I said, much better than my last visit, although nothing for me there on the day. And I did pick up Ratchet and Clank Tools and Destruction. This isn't for me. This is for my friend Hassan, like I said, over in Spain. It's one of the harder ones to come by, and he's got a pile building. That was just £3, and that's his pile so far, so he'll be really happy with that. some of the Rachet games are a bit harder to come by in Spain. I explained about Deadpool, there's arbitrage on that, so 30, 35 pounds here in the UK, he can sell it for 80 euros. So yeah, I'm looking after him as much as he's looking after me. Well, I'm trying to anyway. He's definitely ahead in terms of the monumental effort he's made to get some of these titles that I'm after. Some of them I've found and just sent him the link, and others he's gone out of his way to find. So I really appreciate that, my friend, and I do hope that I can return the favour with this and more, hopefully. After Walsall, I made an impromptu visit to Northfield CEX. I couldn't help it. I was on my way home and I thought, yeah, maybe I could just sneak one more in, and I'm kind of glad I did, really, because it was worth it in the end. So I went to Northfield CEX, which has been happy hunting grounds in the past, and first of all, I saw Tekken Tag Tournament 2. I don't need it. £10 in CEX. I still had voucher left to burn, so I thought it was worth picking up. English, of course, fully complete. I don't need it, but my thought process was, if I pay £10 in voucher for this and I sell it for £12 plus post, that'll be a £2 profit. I'm not here to gloat about a £2 profit, but you'll see why in a moment. And yeah, it was just definitely worth picking up in this sort of condition. So I grabbed that. I also saw 2002 FIFA World Cup. Now, this is one of my original games that I had on the PS2 as a kid. I've explained that I got rid of all my PS2 games when my PS2 blew up. Big regret of mine. This was one that I have yet to find. It was a bit grubby. I have cleaned it up, but for £2, you can't really complain. And it's fully complete. And it's just kind of like an emotional one for me, really, because it's one that I remember my dad taking me down to buy. My dad, he did buy games for me, but it was normally more my mother, and this was just one I remember going down with my dad, amongst others, but more games I would go with my mum to buy, so it was just a nice memory attached to this one. This was the first World Cup that I really knew what was going on. I remember 98, but I was a bit young and not as in the know. I remember Euro 2000, but this is the tournament where it really got really clear. I was in middle school. I remember watching the games in the morning because they were in Japan or whatever, and then I watched the first half at home when we played Brazil, and the second half when we tragically got knocked out, I was watching it at school. And just good memories attached to this World Cup. I remember watching the qualifying. You know, everyone remembers where they were if they were of age for that Beckham free kick against Greece and so on, if you're into football at least. And yeah, it was just a fun game, really. It just you could score some bizarre goals on it, like outside curlers from really far out and so on. But yeah, delighted just to pick this one up for £2. And yeah, it didn't actually cost me anything on the day, because moving on to, well, just going back to the Tekken Tag Tournament. So I put this on Vinted as soon as I got home yesterday, and I put it on for 14 plus posting charges, expecting somebody to offer and knock me down, and I would have accepted 12 being a £2 profit, which would have covered the cost of that game. I put it on for 14. It sold pretty much instantly, so £4 profit on this covers the cost of my FIFA game, so my FIFA game cost me nothing. But it was actually bought by a viewer of the channel, Kyle. Shout out to Kyle, top guy. And I felt a bit bad that, you know, he'd paid more than what I would have sold it in, being a viewer of the channel and a friend and so on. So I offered to cancel the transaction and just sell it in for less off Vinted, but he said no, just see it out, and that's fine. So I decided, okay, well, do you need Motorstorm Pacific Rift? I've just picked this up cheap, and you know, while I didn't want to sell it for £2, I'd said, look, you can have it for a £5. That's like half of what I was going to sell it for. He said, yes, I need the disc or something like that, because he's got this copy, but just a standard disc. And so I said, look, you can have it for £5. He sent me the £5, and this is going out in your parcel with Tekken Tag very shortly after I finish filming this video. And yeah, so that's £3 on this plus £4 on Tekken. So that's a £7 profit. So basically I've made a £5 plus my 2002 World Cup game is free. He's still getting a good deal on this because he's only paid a £5, which is a good price really for this game. Not an easy one to come by, fully complete. And he still has his old copy to sell, so he can sell his old copy and probably make back what he's paid me for that. So he's going to be no worse off and got a complete copy for the privilege. And same with Tekken Tag 2. I believe he's got a copy with a standard disc as well. So hopefully you can recoup most of your money, mate, and you'll be all right in the end anyway. And you've got two decent condition, fully complete games now in your set. So really happy for you. Moving on to my pickups for the week then, first of all, I got this Dark Souls Prepare to Die edition, brand new and sealed, PS3 Essentials. I don't need it, it's one I've already got in the collection, but I saw it on a shop that's been very fruitful. I'm not going to tell you which one because I don't want to give any clues in case it carries on being fruitful, but me and my friend have been raiding it routinely and been getting a lot of good games, brand new and sealed from there. And yeah, it was pretty cheap, so I basically paid £20 for this, plus £2 postage, split across 3 games. So yeah, really happy to get this into my collection. I'm going to sell my Dark Souls Prepared to Die edition that I picked up in the bundle for what it cost me, which was about £15 anyway. So it's only paying a little bit extra to have a brand new copy. I'm happy with that. So that's one of the games I picked up in the bundle of 3 games. I didn't need this one, so I didn't have to pick it up, but it just kind of tempted me. You know, I thought I might as well clean out some of these nice condition games that you don't see sealed too often. So that was the first. The second was Dark Souls 2, Scholar of the First Sin. Now this was an absolute steal, really. It was like £35. Now that sounds like a lot, but it's brand new and sealed. It's English. It's one that I don't have. I don't have Dark Souls 2. I had Dark Souls and Dark Souls Prepare to Die, but not Dark Souls 2. This is a bit more tricky to come by. But not only that, obviously brand new and sealed in English, but not only that, it was £35, but in CEX they charge £42 for this game, second hand, so they'd underpriced it. I think they priced it as one of the other Dark Souls games, and so can't go wrong with that. Got a brand new and sealed minty copy for less than CEX price. Cannot complain at all. Yes, it was still quite expensive. It's not like I picked it up at a car boot and I'm gloating like on that sort of level, but it's still cheaper than what it would cost at CEX, and it's in perfect condition, so happy with that all the same. Last of all, I picked up Burnout Paradise. Beautiful condition, sealed, very English. Now I did have this, but I had a French copy, again bought in that big bundle that I picked up. I've sold that at cost to a friend, Jack, shout out to Jack, and pleased to help him tick one off his list. Pleased to get rid of that at cost, so I haven't lost any money on it. And yeah, this was £20 plus the 70p allocation of postage, I guess, so £20.70 for a brand new sealed English copy, for again one that I don't see very often. Really happy to, you know, put this into my collection, swap out a French copy, and that's another one on my sheet that was orange that is now greened off. So yeah, delighted to have made some good progress this week. So so yeah, just to round up then, we've made a nice bit of essential progress this week. Further still, we've got a sealed upgrade on Dark Souls Prepare to Die edition. We've got a language upgrade on Burnout Paradise, getting rid of my French copy, and got a sealed English copy for not much more. And we've got another one ticked off, Dark Souls 2, Scholar of the First Sin, brand new and sealed, and we picked that up for less than CEX second-hand price for a brand new, beautifully sealed copy. All of these are literally factory fresh, sealed, and stunning condition. So delighted with the progress we've made this week. If you've got any comments about these games, let me know. Drop a comment. Are they any good? Are they not? Some of the sealed games, obviously, I have no intention of playing, really. I don't really want to unseal games and devalue them, really, but delighted to have them in my full set. And it's not like I'm short of games to play anyway with the amount of games that are in this library. So I think I'm all good. If you haven't watched the video on my N64 collection from Thursday, you might want to check that one out. So yeah, that's about going to do it for this week, guys. I hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, please whack a thumbs up. It really helps the channel out. Drop a comment as well, even just a silly one, just to help feed the algorithm. If you're new to the channel or a returning viewer and you're not yet subscribed, please consider doing so. We're trying to build this place up. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll see you on the next one. Hope you've enjoyed this one. If you did, please drop... So yeah, that's going to... and drop a comment, even just a silly one. It really helps the algorithm out and pushes me into the... Damn!